Hi, I'm Dr. Gilgamesh, and I'd like to introduce you to my podcast, Emotional Anatomy. It's an intelligently designed anatomy that has as its goal the recruiting your interest and curiosity as to how it works so that you can become more familiar with it and, as a result, better at it and enjoy it more. Welcome. Hi, it's Dr. Gilgamesh again. Now, ordinarily, I get a chance to sit across from a live human being and begin the exploration of emotional anatomy. So that's why I'm recruiting you to get involved with me in reacting to what I have to say, because your emotional anatomy is responsive. It's having its emotional reflexes. Physical anatomy has reflexes, so too does the emotional anatomy have reflexes. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to demonstrate to you, as though a scientific proof for the presence of an emotional anatomy. I want to demonstrate to you, I want to help you see that it's a reproducible, observable, real experience that you're having, and that it's navigable. Now, granted, if we were sitting opposite each other, you would have the opportunity to say, hey, wait a minute, what do you mean by that? And you've provoked me in this way or that way. And that's happening to you right now in response even to my pictured image on your computer. But now what I'm going to attempt to do is develop this vocabulary a little bit further so that your reactions to me can be better understood by the vocabulary that we use to describe what's going on. Emotional anatomy doesn't change, nor does the physical anatomy, or at least we hope so. Goodness gracious, we don't want it to change. And indeed, emotional anatomy is sensitive just as physical anatomy has changed. It can be wounded, and wounded emotional anatomy develops reflexes. Now, I want you to watch some of these reflexes in action. As an example, today we're going to discuss and use to demonstrate emotional anatomy your personal significance. The choices that you make a difference. This is freedom versus slavery. The entire psychological study of humanity is condensed into those words, freedom versus slavery. And we're going to be seeing that this anatomy of ours can make us slave to our reflexes. Now, many of you already recognize what I'm saying, and it's kind of like, oh, yeah, of course, no, I understand. But then, unfortunately, the majority of us struggle to understand these concepts. I know that I've had plenty of opportunities to talk, for example, with my sister, to talk with many people with whom I'm close, even my daughters. They get to roll their eyes, emotional reflexes. They get to roll their eyes and say, oh, Dad, bring it down to earth, help people understand. Then one of my daughters will actually come back at me with better language than I have. And that's why I'm recruiting you, you see, because you're going to have better language than I have to describe these phenomena. I may be pointing in the direction of this vocabulary as a method of understanding how the mind works. But I think in the long run, it is an open source language that each of us will modify to suit our own perceptions. And it is perception that I'm going to be discussing today as the final outcome of our efforts, not the final outcome, the beginning of understanding emotional anatomy. But it takes these steps that I've already covered in other videos, the single breath gratitude release, that sense of taking a breath, releasing it, and feeling at your core a mood state, an awareness, a passionately valuable relaxation that reminds you of some of the better memories you've ever had in your life. We covered one the other day, the power of that bull in the meadow and the sunset colors surrounding them. An awesome vision. Well, so through emotional anatomy, we are navigating through our heart's home. We would try to shorten this language into navigating heart home wisdom, the wisdom that understands that this navigation is possible and becomes actual proof for the presence of an understandable, a recognizable, a demonstrable emotional anatomy that is also slave to many emotional reflexes, which can be understood as feelings triggered by reactions to other people, even me as I speak with you. Those reactions are recognizable by you, and that they have emerged through other conversations with other people because they're part of your anatomy. And that anatomy is not going to change. Okay, so not everyone will be skilled at this immediately. Not everyone will have the insight or understanding, the sensitivity necessary to recognize the value of these words for the exploration of your mind. But I want to point out to you that through this navigation heart home wisdom, you come to a place where you begin to recognize the lens of awe and wonder. Now, that's a fantastic experience. It's, for me, I'm going to sell it to you as the most rewarding experience on the planet. For as we get into this further, we will see the capacities of vision, the big movie that emerges from this experience, as being powerful enough to overcome our addictions, our slaveries, our trapped in emotional reflexes. To be able to see those traps is the skill that we are developing. We're investing in your confidence. This is an investment in the confidence of each of us individually, that we might be able to understand personal significance. Now, personal significance is further emphasized by these words and this suggestion that you are important and valuable to the future of the world. Immediately, you get to hear inside your head the opposition. The part is that is trying to stop you and prevent you from experiencing this lens of awe and wonder, that you might be able to see more clearly and choose more wisely the pathways that lead you heart home. For it is through your heart home that you begin to realize that the lens of awe and wonder is real. This isn't a figment of my imagination, and I'm not doing a frou-frou psychological science. I'm actually suggesting that you can prove either that I'm wrong or discover that I'm right, that this lens of awe and wonder is real. Wow. Oh, amazing. Starry night sky. Wow. Amazing. Now, some people are so deeply wounded emotionally that their reflexes prevent them from experiencing this lens of awe and wonder. And it is through that, the experience of those reflexes, that I'm claiming I'm able to prove to you that emotional anatomy is real. For those reflexes are reproducible, recognizable, and as a result, freely choosing to say no. I do not want to respond to them any longer because I catch them early enough before they snowball into an overwhelm. I hope so. Because then, of course, you're going to believe me and that you're going to come back and study a little bit more with me, build your vocabulary, and I hope join us online and start contributing to the threads of ideas that are coming out of our Facebook program. Now, important and valuable to the future of the world produces thoughts, self-talk, ideas that are opposed. I like to think of it as the emotional anatomy of the whack-a-mole. There's a game, whack-a-mole, that, right? Anything that sticks its little head up, you have to hit it and keep it down. But you see, somebody who is wounded and trapped within their emotional anatomy, when they hear these words, wham, the whack-a-mole prevents them from studying any further. Wham! Not you. Who do you think you are? Who does he think he is? And all these other kind of words might flow forth rapidly. We're going to get a chance to explore these things. We have volunteers that are going to be willing to appear on the podcast with me that will explore their emotional anatomy in front of me and in front of you in response to me, and that they are already studied with me for a while, so they'll have vocabulary that will help us understand more clearly what they're experiencing. I hope this for you, because then more and more of you will join in and participate in the expansion of this language, even if it's just with your cousins, and telling them about our podcast and about how we are attempting to do this as legacy to the generations. We have been stuck without a comprehensive language that would speak to how the mind works, and I believe that that it is time for our collaboration to mature and develop such a language, so that it can ultimately be offered to the school teachers, right, to the elementary school teachers, and that the little kids would begin to understand that this is simply a repeat of their emotional anatomy, and that they get to learn about themselves by looking into the emotional mirror along with the rest of us. And they take that language home to mom and dad that have never heard of such a thing, kind of like calculus, and that they begin expanding this awareness into the society. All right. So as I've said before, an autocrat could make this happen overnight within their school system. Here in America, it's going to be a long persuasion. But let's get started. The whack-a-mole is trying to prevent you from seeing the value of returning heart home, single breath, gratitude release. Thank you. As I am able then to see more clearly, choose more wisely, the words that will help us all understand better. Talk to you again tomorrow, and please join us online. Thanks. I'm genuinely excited about bringing you a new awareness of the mind and how it works. Emotional anatomy, heart-home wisdom, being able to see through the lens of awe and wonder. These podcasts are free, but you can contribute to them and make them possible through patreon.com/emotional anatomy. Please also join us on our Facebook group. Thank you.